Hey, welcome back to Kitchen All Over the World, the show where I cook things that I've never tasted before. With the Olympics having just finished in South Korea and all the news constantly coming out of North Korea these days, I figured I'd humanize the people of North Korea a little bit through their food. So today I'm making a traditional mung bean pancake, Bindaetteok. Join me. So traditionally, Bindaetteok would be made with 100% dried, peeled mung beans as your main batter ingredient. But in modern times and in hungry times, they add in sweet glutinous rice or chopsal. In this recipe, I'm going to do a more modern twist on it, but considering the situation in North Korea, I couldn't really tell you which variety they use. So in restaurants, apparently you'll find the ones that are combination just to save money on mung beans. So I'm going to do about 75-25 split. So I'll do a cup and a half of mung beans and a half a cup of the glutinous rice. It's important you get the glutinous rice. You can see there's a major difference between this and your standard short grain cooking rice. So now that we've got these guys mixed up, we're just gonna do a basic rinse just like we do anytime we're cooking with rice. Just to get the extra starch out, clean it up a little bit. You can see there's a lot of yellow color to that water. And after a few rinses, it should start to look a little less cloudy. There you go. So at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and cover it up with some water. And we're gonna let this soak overnight. So here are our dried mung beans and chopsal after soaking overnight. I have rinsed and drained them. And what we're gonna do now is turn these into our batter. So I've got my food processor here. We're probably gonna have to work in batches because this is a whole lot of this stuff and this is a whole little bit of this thing. So here's where we're at after that initial grind. You can see it's sort of a mealy paste, and we want to get it to more of a pancake batter consistency. And here's where we're at right now. So out of the original 2 cups of grain that we soaked overnight and blended up, we got about 1 liter of batter. So I'm gonna take, apparently it splits once you start adding the ingredients into water and grain, because it's not a water-soluble solution, basically. So I'm gonna take half a liter, and to that I'm gonna go ahead and add half a cup of chopped up kimchi, and give that a good mix. All right. So I've got a nice frying pan on the burner. I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of vegetable oil. Now that the oil is nice and hot, we're gonna add a pinch of salt. Stir it in real quick, and I'm gonna take just a nice ladleful of this batter and make a good 4 or 5 inch pancake. While the top is wet, I'm gonna add some of these. These are called fern breaks. They are rehydrated ferns of some variety. So let's just add a few on top. A few mung beans. A couple pieces of scallion. And some pork belly. Now, if you don't eat pork, you can feel free to either trade out the meat or not use meat at all, make it vegetarian. That is a-okay, and it's probably more than likely that meat is a rarity up north still, sadly. My handy dandy scraper. There we go. Sometimes you really gotta just emancipate the North Korean pancake from the bounds of its oil-laden regime. And as with any pancakes, the first one's always going to be a little bit of a mess, so let's go in with number 2. right, so I got my pancakes. Third time is the charm. The first two, well, the first one's all right. The second one was a little bit big. So you want to keep it thin, but in order to keep it thin, you got to keep it kind of small diameter, otherwise it's not going to flip. So let's see how it turns out. And I've got a trusty beer on the side. Did you know that North Korea imported an entire brewery piece by piece from England? And apparently they make some amazing beer if you ever get the chance to visit, which I don't really recommend because then you're just funding a regime. But that's besides the point. Anyway, what goes better with fried food than some beer? So let's dig right in. Nice and crispy, but it's got a distinctly hearty, grainy kind of undertone to it, which you get from the mung beans. I don't think the rice really lent too much aside from filler. A bit with the pork. And you know, I think that because the pork was cooked inside of the pancake, it didn't get that bacony flavor that pork belly tends to get, because bacon, at least in the States, is pork belly. Those of you who didn't know, now you know. That's why we love our bacon so much. If you were hesitant to put it in because of your dietary restrictions or religious restrictions or whatnot, don't feel like you're being left out, because I don't think it really lends too much to the flavor of this dish. It's mostly that fried mung bean paste. It's a really good pancake. I'm getting sort of like this bounciness. I think, we'll try this on its own. The fern break has almost the texture of calamari, this sort of springy, bouncy kind of texture. So it adds a little bit of just that texture to the dish. You've got the crispiness of it being fried, and then you've got this bounciness sort of intermittent with the fern breaks. And I made a basic sauce. It's your standard soy sauce and vinegar mix, 2-to-1 ratio. Actually, the vinegar kind of counteracts, kind of balances out the greasiness. It is actually a nice touch. It lightens things up a little bit. So to those of you watching up in North Korea, be sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully one of these days that won't actually be a joke, and I'll get to travel the former Soviet Republic of DPRK. But until then, I'll just enjoy your tasty food and hope for the best. Cheers.